Dana White's good? He's good?
I'm good.
You got him in there?
I'm ready.
What they got you sipping on?
I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
Y'all didn't put no Bill Cosby in there, did y'all? Don't play no games with Dana and no motherfucking Bill Cosby up here. I want him to come back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'd like to welcome you inside the GGN News Network. I'm your host with the most, Finding Nemo, AKA Nemo Hoes. And today, I got a big guest on my show. I'm talking about the A-list, man. You know what I'm talking about? The one and only Dana UFC White. What's up, D. White?
What's up, Snoop?
How you doing, loved one?
I am good.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to have you on my show, man.
Honored.
For the people that don't know, you are a part of the
UFC. Yeah. So my partners and I bought the UFC 16, 17 years ago. Recently, we sold to WME-IMG, and they cut a deal to bring me back and for me to stay. So I stayed.
Okay, so originally it was yours in the beginning, or you had
me and the Fertitta brothers.
Oh,
Frank Lorenzo.
I love those guys.
I love them too.
I love those guys. Shout out to Bishop Gorman, Fertitta Field. No, but that was a great move when you guys partnered up to take UFC to another level, because I remember before you had your hands on it, when it was premature, when it really didn't have no weight class to it. It just was like, I would watch Royce Gracie fight guys 3 times bigger than him.
Right.
And he would beat their ass.
Right.
But it wasn't as organized and as structured as you guys have it now, so.
Well, we felt this many people wanted to see a freak show. This many people want to see a real sport. So as we got into it, we started to realize that there were, these guys were different than boxers in many different ways. And we felt that if this sport and the athletes were marketed right, it could be big.
Yeah, because basically you branded a whole new sport.
Right.
Because UFC was not big in America as much as it was overseas, like Brazil and certain parts of the world. That mixed martial arts was big, but not as big. Once you guys branded and made it a sport and made it international, then you can have people from different countries participating and becoming champions, which made the sport bigger than football, bigger than basketball, bigger than baseball, because at any given time, you could put a pay-per-view up and have a whole country supporting this fighter and a whole country supporting this fighter, then you fight in a whole nother country.
Right. No, it's global. And one of the things that's really interesting is if you look at, in 1993, when the first UFC came out, martial arts has evolved more since then than it has in the last 10,000 years. It used to be karate, we have the best style, kung fu, taekwondo. Now everybody realizes you have to train in everything and have a little piece of, all the disciplines to be a complete fighter. And the thing that makes this work is, when I used to say, 15 years ago, that this would be bigger than the NFL, bigger than this, bigger than that. Think about it, right? The most famous athletes, I'm a Patriots fan, right? And what Brady has done is unbelievable. He's huge, but there's parts of the world where people don't know who Tom Brady is and don't care, right? The most famous athletes to ever walk the face of the earth have been fighters since the beginning of time. Look at Mike Tyson. Everybody knows who Mike Tyson is.
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Ali. Everybody knows who Muhammad Ali is. Bruce Lee died in 1973. Everybody still knows who Bruce Lee is.
Still. I got a mannequin of him when you walk in my building. He at the front door. Speaking of Bruce Lee, do you think he would have been a great UFC fighter?
Well, I think Bruce Lee's time and place was, really I look at him as like I would call him the grandfather of mixed martial arts. He was a guy who tried to, first of all, teach everybody martial arts, wanted every culture to learn martial arts. And he was a guy who believed in mixing the arts up, that you needed to have all these different, he studied all these different arts, from boxing to kung fu to taekwondo. He studied everything. So I think he was the guy who had the vision for a UFC. And then obviously you got to look at the Gracies, who are like the fathers of the sport.
What about the father? I never seen him fight. I only seen Royce get down. What was the father like?
The father, the one that started the Grace, Horion and Royce and those guys, he was still doing jiu-jitsu in his 90s. Yeah, that guy. And he used to take on all comers down in Brazil. And then
Like
the boys,
street fights.
Yeah, oh yeah, street fights. And then the boys took it to the United States and blew it up and made it what it is today. I mean, if you look at the UFC, when I was saying that it's, martial arts have evolved more, since 1993, look at street fights these days on YouTube.
Yeah.
It looks like a mixed martial arts fight instead of a stand-up, sloppy fight. You see
it's
so
organized.
much.
They got rings.
Well, even when they fight in the streets, you see guys going for stuff that happens in the UFC.
They watch. I mean, that's the number one. And then y'all got video games too. How did that catapult y'all awareness as well? The video game
was huge. So, the hardest part for us, obviously, when we got involved in the UFC, the funny thing is if you look at American culture, right? American culture, the old John Wayne movies, right? John Wayne would hit a guy, right? And he wouldn't jump on top of him, and he would stand him back up, and then he'd hit him again. You weren't supposed to jump on a guy when he was down. You didn't hit a guy when he was down. So in the beginning, for us, it was, our culture was all about standing up and fighting, boxing, the old movies you saw and everything else. So to me, the hardest part was going to be, how do we educate people on the ground game? How do they know what they're doing? How do they know if they're going for an arm bar? How do they see it? And honestly, the video games were amazing for that, because kids started playing the video games. They became aware of the moves and how to set them up and how to do them. And it also helped market the fighters. But the other thing that was great, Joe Rogan is such a great commentator. He actually sets up what's happening before it actually happens.
From Fear Factor. Joe, I know you're on Fear Factor, dog. Had people eating cockroaches and walking on hot coal and all kind of shit. Joe, you crazy. He do a great job too,
he's
man.
Good.
Like
and he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too.
He's just so dope. His energy though, I love his. You got to have an energy when you calling this shit, man, because it's energetic.
It's a passion. He's passionate about the sport, and you can tell. You can tell he's not just a talking head being paid to talk about MMA. He's into it. He loves it.
But I love the way you got your team structured. From Big John on down, like just the association of the people that you pick. You pick guys that become characters and become legends in their own right. What goes into that thought? Is it like?
Yeah, what's funny is when Joe Rogan was on Fear Factor, I saw him do an interview with, remember the Ivory Keenan weigh-in show? He had his own talk show. So he was on that talk show and he was talking about martial arts, and he started talking about the UFC. And he was talking about how these UFC fights, like Ivory Keenan weigh-ins asked him like about these different, TV stars that do martial arts. He's like, the UFC fighters would whoop the shit out of these guys. It's not even close. And the way that he was talking about it, I was like, at this point, I need a guy like that who has some celebrity and who isn't afraid to speak his mind and is very educated about the sport. So I reached out to Rogan, and Rogan's like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm in. You want to hear something crazy? You know how much Rogan loved it? He did the first 12 shows for free. He didn't even get paid. He wanted to do it. And then obviously once we turned around, he gets paid now.
Yeah, you're part of the team now. You're part of the brand. I mean, we look forward to hearing his voice when the fights come on.
Joe's getting paid now.
I mean, he got to be a part of this shit. He's like the Howard Cosell of football back in the days. Like, it's connected.
I think he's the best. I think that Joe Rogan is the best. Ever since somebody threw a punch at somebody else, he's the best to ever call a fight. He's amazing.
Off the top. Shout out to Joe. Joe, you got to come on to GGN too, dog. Quit bullshitting. I'm going to contact your agent and see what's happening. Now, everybody on my network wanted me to ask you this question. I would never ask this question, but I have to ask because they
You can ask me whatever you want.
They want to know about the restrictions of marijuana in the UFC and what is the current policy. And because Nick Diaz was on the show.
Yeah.
And he was suspended for
Nobody's broken the policy more than Nick Diaz.
You motherfucking right. But why is that a policy when it has nothing to do with the fighters? I mean, I think in the steroid, y'all should be focused on that. Like, enhancement of the fighter. That's not enhancing the fighter. That's relaxation to an injury or to pain. Or, you understand what I'm saying?
That's the problem. So, first of all, it's not the UFC. It's the athletic commissions.
Regulations.
It's the government, right?
Gotcha.
The governments are the ones that regulate that. We have the best drug testing policy in all of sports. And the problem with marijuana is, and marijuana is obviously becoming,
more legal.
Way more legal than when we were younger, right? It's a completely different ballgame these days. But the problem is it's still a painkiller. So you can't go into a fight having smoked marijuana within the last, I don't know, I think it's 24 hours. Your nanograms, when they test you, have to be at a certain level.
And so what's that, to prevent the pain from setting in?
Right. So they look at marijuana as a painkiller. I mean, you can't go into a fight with painkillers either, with a painkiller or
For real?
marijuana.
So if I took an Advil before the fight,
You can't do it.
What the fuck?
Yeah. You can't even take a sleeping pill before the fight.
So we don't want no drugs, no nothing.
Nothing.
We want you to be water and vegetables.
Yep.
And
You have to be 100%. They don't want any type of pill or drug that would put you in harm's way. Listen, you got a guy who's trying to. Have you ever taken a sleeping pill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you take a sleeping pill and you're still fucked up the next day.
Yeah, groggy and all that shit.
Exactly. So you don't want to go in against a fresh guy that day.
And they get hit and beat up. Okay, I got you.
After you're still feeling the effects of a sleeping pill.
But see, nobody explains that to the fan.
Right.
We only getting this much of the story, and everybody
Right.
like, man, why y'all being mean to Nick? Man, Nick is my motherfucker, man. Get him back in there. He the only mother. But they don't
And here's
understand.
the thing. The other thing is this. You have to not smoke marijuana for 24 hours.
That's it?
Yeah, he fights 3 times a year. So you can't stay
Nick,
off
Nick,
marijuana
Nick, come here,
for
goddammit.
24 hours for 3 days a year.
Nick, come on, man. Nick, Skinny Bone Jones, I'm gonna put y'all on rehabilitation. I gotta sit down and chop it up with y'all. I can't believe this is the rules and you motherfuckers is violating. I'm putting a weed class together for y'all. We're gonna do this 3-step 3-step program for y'all.
You know, it's not like the commission is saying you can never smoke marijuana. You can't smoke marijuana
Prior
for
to the
24
fight.
hours before
The fight.
the fight. And you only fight 3 times a year.
Damn.
Come on.
Damn.
Come
That's
on.
Damn.
And Diaz fails the test every
Nick.
fucking time.
Come on, Nick. Damn, Nick.
It doesn't even make sense. It's crazy.
Damn, Nick. It's hard to be your attorney now, Nick. I'm gonna have to get this case to somebody else.
I'm going
now.
to tell you this right now, too, right? His nanogram level one time was so high, he had to smoke it on his way to the fucking octagon. It doesn't even, it's crazy. It doesn't even make sense.
Nick, it's time. Oh, what? Right now? Yeah, they called you. They got your music on. Okay.
Seriously. That's pretty much reality. What it all boils down to is Nick Diaz doesn't give a fuck.
As he should. That's the Bay Area for you. Shout out to the Bay Area. Yee! No, but it's good that you were able to explain to the home viewer who really don't have no clarity or no understanding. It's a business and it's a job. So don't just think it's a sport, it's a business and it's a job, so it has to be regulated in a way to where it can run professionally in its
And be
protocol.
safe.
Yes,
And
exactly,
be safe.
for both fighters.
Yeah, and sometimes in these situations, you have to save the fighter from himself.
Thank
you.
you.
Making mistakes and doing things where he could get hurt. Because at the end of the day, the great thing about the UFC is, in the over 20-year history of the UFC, even back in the crazy days, there's never been a death or serious injury.
Because that's the key.
Right?
Boxing has many deaths.
Cheerleading can't say that.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Yeah. You look
Football
at this-
can't say that.
Right. So, obviously we're proud of that, and sometimes we have to protect these guys from themselves. We don't tell you can't smoke weed. You can smoke all the weed you want to.
We're just saying before the motherfucking fight,
Exactly.
get it together.
24 hours before the fight, you can't. You can't smoke weed, and you can't use steroids. You can't use performance-enhancing
I'm
drugs.
with that. I'm with that entirely. Like, you shouldn't be able to use steroids at all because that's enhancing what you're doing. No, man, this is a great sport. In the beginning, it was looked at as something that was totally violent and unnecessary, but now it's beautiful, man. There's so many kids that want to get involved in this. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I love it, man. Listen, there's a lot of people that, there's a lot of people in life that have never been in a fight, have never been in those types of situations, and have had, a very different upbringing than other people have. For some people, fighting is everything to them. It gets people away from drugs. It gets people away from crime. It gets people. I mean, if you look at Mike Tyson's story,
saved his life.
Yeah, he saved his life. There's a lot of people who end up fighting like that, and then there's just other people like Conor McGregor. Like, this dude was put on earth to do this. This is what he was put on earth to do. Some people are like that.
Hi, my name is Stormy Frantz, and I will be doing the weather today for Havana, Cuba. Today looks like it's going to be a little wet. It's going to be long, hard, very pounding. It's probably going to keep you up tonight. So, just a heads up. Yeah, rain pounds when it's really hard.
And then the ultimate question is it going to happen? Is Floyd and McGregor going to happen? Because that's a lot of conversation, and I'm looking at them like, you know what I'm saying? Like, would it be a good fight? I don't know, because this guy's a dog. I watch McGregor, he's a dog. And then I watch Floyd, you know, do his thing, but I'm saying, how does that look? And man, is it gonna happen? Man, they get my blood pressure all high. Should I tone it down? Have some coffee, watch One Life to Live? What should I do?
Yeah, I obviously, there's a lot of money in this fight, and they both want it. You know, at the end of the day, does that fight make any sense whatsoever for my business? No, but I would never keep Conor McGregor or any fighter away from making that kind of money. But on the flip side, there's a lot of egos and a lot of people in the middle of this thing to make it happen. And for the people, you know, when you talk about it, everybody's like, well, if Conor goes in there and boxes him, he'd get killed. And if Floyd went in and fought MMA, he'd get killed. But when you really look at this fight, at the end of the day, it's a fight, right? And Floyd Mayweather's 40 years old, right? Conor McGregor's 27. You met Floyd, right? You know Floyd. Floyd's this big, okay? Conor's a big dude. Floyd has trouble with southpaws. Conor McGregor is southpaw. And Conor McGregor hits like a truck. When he hits you, you know it. So in no way, shape, or form am I saying Conor McGregor wins this fight. I don't know, but it's more interesting than people think it is, you know? When they think, boxing and this and that. I promise you, Conor McGregor will hit him. When they fight, he will get hit, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. So
yeah,
I'm down to do it. I love fighting, and I love doing crazy stuff like this. It's just,
I just think it's so dope to your legacy because that's your fighter. That's your man.
Imagine if Conor McGregor knocked Floyd Mayweather
Then how do you look now? How does UFC look now?
Right. Let me tell you what. The other problem is if this thing goes down, you know, Conor could make anywhere from, you know, 60 to 70 million.
Oh, now he's going to come back and tell you, now I need to get that.
Well,
okay, I know
no,
the flip
what
side.
I think happens is, if Floyd's going to make 100 and whatever, however the thing plays out, I mean, how do you come back again and fight for 8, 9, 10 million bucks? You know?
That's a once in a lifetime scenario.
Right.
Long as he understands that dynamic, and
which I think he does. He's a smart kid, but he might never fight again. Listen, Snoop, when you're in the fight business, you got to be hungry, man.
You're right.
You got to be hungry. It's hard to get up and get punched in the face every day when you got 75 million in the bank.
Is Conor hungry for somebody in the UFC world as much as he is hungry for Floyd?
Yeah, I think he's hungry for Floyd for the money, and Conor loves to prove people wrong. So I met with Conor McGregor 2 weeks ago. You sit down with this fucking kid, he'll make you believe that he's going to knock Floyd Mayweather out. It's one of the many things I love about this kid, you know? So you know this shit that went on with Tony Ferguson and Khabib, right? Conor texts me and
Is
said,
they the same weight class?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this shit that went down, you know what he said to me? He texts me, he says, I can't believe you're gonna fucking pay that bum Tony Ferguson $1. He goes, you shouldn't pay that guy a fucking dime. He goes, he was there, made weight, and you lined up a fight for him with fucking
Khabib?
No, Michael Johnson. After Khabib fell out and didn't make weight, you lined up a fight with him and Michael Johnson. He turned it down. Fucking bum. You shouldn't pay him a dime. That's Conor's mentality.
Like you should have took that fight
Right,
just
he
because
should
you
have
was
took
ready.
that Michael Johnson fight. Exactly. Are you a fighter? Did you prepare?
You
Did you
came
train?
in to fight. I don't give a fuck who I'm in the ring with. Line me up with somebody.
That's what Conor said to me. And you know, that's one of the many things that I love about Conor McGregor.
Dog.
And he ain't just talking, because
it.
I've been standing in his living room looking at him saying, Conor, your opponent fell out.
No, but this motherfucker fought.
He doesn't give a shit.
He fought Nick Diaz, right?
He fought Nate Diaz twice.
Nate Diaz big as a motherfucker.
Really big. That's exactly right.
And I'm looking at this shit like, man, hold on, man. I'm starting
bigger than Conor.
starting to understand what you're saying now, man. God damn, that's a big difference, man.
He don't give a shit. And at one point, one of his fighters fell out that he was supposed to fight. Trained for this guy the whole time, and everybody thought that Conor's big weakness was wrestlers. If you get in there with a wrestler, you're dead. He fought Chad Mendez on a week's notice. Could care less. Didn't even blink or flinch at the fight, you know? And everybody thinks that I kiss Conor's ass and everything else. Yeah, I definitely treat Conor different. I've never dealt with a fighter like this in my life.
LeBron get treated different.
Yeah, it's just
Kobe got treated different. I mean,
the difference with this kid is he literally will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime.
And
he means it.
You the man, right? So when you see that kind of spirit, It's your job to uplift that, because when you uplift that spirit, it's another Conor McGregor somewhere
Right.
that you're gonna find, and you're gonna be like, see, these are the type of dogs I'm looking for.
You're right. Like that
get
girl
at it.
Cynthia.
She's
we
a
just
dog.
talked about, you know?
I called you on the phone, you
Yep.
showed up, you kicked ass, now
Yep.
you're ready to keep it moving.
2 weeks notice, she showed up, walked into the big show on pay-per-view and performed like a fucking rock star, man. I love it.
Because nobody paid to see her, but we left wanting to see more of her.
Right?
That's game right
I
there.
agree.
Man, that's how it's supposed to be though, right?
I'm with you.
I'm a new fan, baby. I need to get an autographed picture and when they put you on the video game. You understand me? Talk about it. We inside the Smoker Studio, aka everyday real nigga shit. So I'm gonna ask you some questions and you can answer to the best of your ability.
Okay.
What's the first thing you do or think of when you wake up?
What's the first thing I do or think of when I wake up? The answer is a lot of shit. You know, from the minute I go to bed to the minute I wake up, I'm thinking about all the shit that I got coming at me tomorrow.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Tacos or burgers?
Tacos.
Ass or titties?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like them both.
Hey, that's a great answer. What's your favorite pair of shoes all time?
Adidas.
Favorite thing to cook?
Favorite things to cook? Mac and cheese.
How many times a day do you think about sex?
I don't know, a lot.
What's the worst job you've ever had?
Paving roads.
If you were stuck on an island for a year and could only listen to 3 albums, what would they be?
Only 3 albums. Ooh, that's a good one. Only 3 albums. Listen, I know this is hilarious, but I'm such a huge fan. Thriller.
That's a great album.
I fucking love Thriller. Any album by the Beastie Boys.
Yeah. License to Ill, take that one.
And I'd probably take a Rage Against the Machine album.
No, you're gonna be over there on some. You ain't had no room to make love to none of those jungle girls that's over
I'm
there.
by myself, man. Yeah, I'm by myself.
Well, you maybe some jungle love.
I'm gonna
Come
be
on,
angry.
Maybe, maybe some jungle love.
I'm bringing rage because I'm gonna be pissed off that I'm on this island by myself.
If you could remake any movie and star in it, what would it be?
One of my favorite all times is Raging Bull.
You'd be De Niro?
I don't know about that. I'd leave that to De Niro. He did a great job. I'll produce it.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Read people's minds. It'd be that or invisible, you know? One
Invisible?
of those.
Teleport.
Teleport's good too. I hate flying.
Teleport on the police when they pull me over. You, hands out of the car, back up. Well, where the fuck is he? He was just here.
The police don't pull you over anymore.
Nah, not no more. When they do, just be a gang of smoke come out that motherfucker. They be like,
They're all cool with you about that though, huh?
yeah, I'm together now, man. I got my understanding. Me and the police, we all right with each other now. We have a nice understanding. Can you believe that?
I believe it.
This is the part of the show called Finish the Sentence. I'm gonna start it till you finish it. I always wake up,
In a good mood.
if I could work with anybody dead or alive, I want to work with.
Clint Eastwood.
If I could see anybody perform dead or alive, I'd want to see.
The Beastie Boys.
I look for blank in a woman.
I'm weird about teeth and how they dress.
Thank you. If I wasn't a boss, I'd be
If I wasn't a boss, I'd be an employee.
My favorite position is
Oh God. My favorite position is missionary. I'm boring as hell.
missionary. See, I wasn't even
I'd love
thinking
to give you something fucking exciting like.
but I wasn't thinking about sex. I was thinking maybe like sports or business, maybe a point guard, a CEO.
Well, that goes back to the question: how many times a day do you think about sex? There you go.
See, what a dirty mind you have, Dana. We got to get him some soap to wash his mind, some Head and Shoulders. You hear me? My name is Dana White, and I'm
My name is Dana White, and I'm a happy motherfucker, man. I really don't have anything to complain about. I love my life, and yeah, I'm a happy motherfucker.
Hey, that answer was the first of its kind, and it fits you to a motherfucking T, man. Real talk, man. We want to thank you for coming to the show, Dana White. We appreciate all the love the UFC gives me and my team for many years. And
Likewise, Snoop.
we appreciate, the fact that you coming on my show and talking about things that a lot of sports networks would love to get information to, but they're not privy to get that information. I know My guy Stephen A. Smith has been dying to get you on his show, but seemed you didn't have time because you
Hey,
had time to get
so
here.
I just heard before I came in here, Stephen A. Smith is smashing me today because of my criticism of Tyrone Woodley. Yeah.
Well, on my
So,
show, if
me
you
and-
want to air it out, come on back, Dana White, and do your thing.
Yeah,
Man.
me and Steven got to talk.
Yeah, real talk. So what's the next big fight that's coming up?
This summer, as far as massive, big fights, we're looking at the return of George St. Pierre versus
What,
Michael
GSP?
Bisping. He's back.
What he look like? He ain't been in there in a minute.
Oh, yeah. You need to watch the press conference with him and Michael Bisping. It's fucking great. You
love
ought to
GSP.
have fucking Michael Bisping on this show. He lives around here, too. He's
You
hilarious.
can set it up for me?
Yes, done.
Yeah, make it
Oh,
happen.
you and him would be fucking great together.
Yeah, get him on.
Yeah. You guys got to watch. Show Snoop the press conference with him and GSP. Mike shows up late. He'd been out partying all night, and then shows up and then just starts fucking. And GSP's going, "Are you drunk? Are you drunk right now?" It's a
Motherfucker
great.
like, yeah, I'm drunk. I don't give a fuck about this fight. I'm gonna beat your ass.
That's exactly what he said. You had a good time last night. I'm English. That's what we do.
Now.
It's
Nah.
great. You got to watch it.
Love it.
I'll get Bisping on the show for you.
Fucking
You guys
love
will be
it, man.
hilarious together.
This is amazing right here. UFC, man. From UFC 1 to UFC 209. That was the last one we just did, right?
Yes, sir.
I've been there from A1 since day one. You know what I'm talking about? I know about him. Real talk. Thank you, Dana White. UFC, baby.